this is CricketSong with Lunar Wisdom, and this video is going to be answering the question, what is the difference between magic, witchcraft, and psychic abilities? So I had a viewer subscriber send me this message recently, and they were asking me to talk a little bit about the difference between magic, witchcraft, and psychic abilities. So first of all, I do want to say that I do see a difference between the three. And so we're going to go into my definition of what each of them are and then how they can overlap or how they don't overlap. So the first one is magic. What is magic? And I personally resonate with the definition that is based on Aleister Crowley's definition of magic. It's the art and science of creating a change within an individual's reality or within themselves through the manipulation of will, emotions, and energy. That is what magic is. Magic itself, I like to compare to electricity. You know, it's something that is, and we use this to manipulate through our emotions, through our intention and our will to create some sort of change. Now, witches use magic. Witchcraft is magic, but not all magic is witchcraft. So not all magical practitioners are witches. So you could have a magical practitioner that uses just intentions, that they just use their mind or their mental power and their emotions, and they don't do any elaborate spell crafting. But they are able to manipulate things so that they can change things within their life. I mean, the whole law of attraction, from my perspective, is a form of magic. But not all people who practice the law of attraction, and I'm talking about the complete law of attraction, not just positive thinking, but the whole idea and the process that has been made popular by Esther, by the teachings of Abraham. It is more than just positive thinking. So people who really practice or who are law of attraction practitioners are using a form of magic from my perspective, whether they label it that way or not. We have other magicians that practice ceremonial magic. They may not label themselves as witches per se. I see a lot of, or I feel that a lot of magical practitioners are using or utilizing one aspect of the spectrum of this magic or energy. They use a specific vibrational frequency of this energy or this magic. So, witchcraft. Witchcraft I define as the craft of the witch. So number one, to practice witchcraft, then my feeling is you are a witch. I mean, witchcraft, is part of the word. And witchcraft or witches are using a different spectrum or a broader spectrum of magic. Witchcraft is a form of magic. They manipulate, witches manipulate the energy of themselves, of their environment, of the other realms of existence in order to create this change. And generally witches do spells. They use spell crafting to manipulate the change. Now spells can be very simple or they can be very elaborate. They could take minutes or they could take hours. It depends on the type of spells that the witch is casting. Generally, they use the energies of their natural environment like herbs and stones and water and fire and air. They use the physical realm because they are physical manifestations of a divine energy or universal energy, and they utilize their environment. If they're a witch that lives in the city, they may use more urban type items or sources of energy than a witch who lives in a country or a suburban setting. But both witches are utilizing the physical realm as well as the spiritual realm, the divine realm, the astral realm. They're using, and they're aware of all these realms, and they're using that. That's part of their ability. Many witches will have relationships with spiritual entities, with ancestors, with the spirit realm, in order for them to create these changes. Being a witch is a lifestyle. It's not just a practice. Although witchcraft is the craft or practice of the witch, it is different from a magical practitioner. As I said, I feel, and this is my opinion, that the witch uses a broader spectrum of the magic or the energy that magical practitioners use. But again, this is just my opinion. The witch has this, like I said, relationship, or they have a communion with the other realms. I'm sure you've heard the term that witches straddle the hedge, or they're hedge riders, or they stand at the threshold between here and there. Casting circle is bridging that, is bringing the other realms into the physical realm, and for the witch to step out of this physical realm and work within this space that is free from the natural laws of the shared reality. So, as I said, the witch uses more of that spectrum. So, witchcraft is magic, but not all magic is witchcraft. Okay, so that's where I see the differences. And all magical practitioners are not witches, but all witches are magical practitioners. So that brings us to psychic abilities. So then what is the psychic abilities? So from my perspective, psychic abilities are the abilities that an individual has that to gain understanding, to gain knowledge, to gain the perception of things that our natural five senses don't give them. So taste, sight, smell, hearing, and touch are the regular or normal or general senses, physical senses that a human being would be born with. Although not everybody is. Some people are born deaf, some people are born blind. But overall, someone who is born in a state of health and overall well-being would have access to these five senses. A psychic would have access to not only those five senses, and sometimes not all of them, but has extrasensory perception, meaning that they can gain information beyond the natural. They can tap into the supernatural, meaning those things that are not generally available to everybody. Although I do feel like it is available to everybody, but everybody doesn't recognize this ability within themselves. And some of us have easier access to these than others for whatever reason. It could be environmental, social, familial. So the psychic abilities can be found in individuals who are mentally perceptive and highly intuitive, meaning that these individuals have or have developed within their brain, within their mental capability, this understanding or this natural ability to tap into the supernatural senses. And they're highly intuitive people. Now, all psychics don't have access to all the psychic abilities there are, and some psychics have more of a knack for one type of psychic ability. So you may find a psychic who is very has precognition. They have dreams of what will happen in the future. They may also be clairvoyant individuals, or that person who is has precognition may also be clairvoyant, but perhaps they're not clairsentient. And maybe one person may be very clairsentient but doesn't have clairvoyance. I mean, maybe someone is telekinetic but not telepathic. So psychic abilities, there's such a large range of psychic abilities. You can Google it and find a list, and the list is very long. But generally they are categorized under the five senses, and they start with clair, clairsentience, claircognizance, clairaudience. I mean, there's one that goes with each of the five senses. So the list is extraordinary. But it's different from being a witch. Being a psychic is different from being a witch. And being psychic is different from being a magical practitioner. Witches, all witches are psychics. I believe that that's how it is. All witches are psychics, but not all psychics are witches. All psychics don't use magic, but some psychics may use magic. And all magical practitioners are not psychic. And all witches are magical practitioners. So I feel like the three may overlap, and I feel like the greatest overlapping you're going to have is when you're talking about witches and witchcraft, because witches and witchcraft are magical practitioners and use magic, and all witches, I do believe, are psychic, but all psychics are not witches, and all magical practitioners are not witches, and all psychics may not be magical practitioners, and all magical practitioners may not be psychic. So that's how I see the breakdown between the three: magic, witchcraft, and psychic abilities. If you have questions regarding this topic, please put them in the comment section of the video, or send me a message, and I'd be happy to clarify anything I've said in this video. And as always, I love you. Mwah.